One thing social psychology doesn't warn us about is this. Being empathetic can quietly teach you to disappear. I am deeply empathetic. I feel people. I notice shifts in the room. I notice people's energies and I notice discomfort before anyone says a word. And while that can be a strength, I've had to learn that empathy unchecked can turn into overextension. Social psychology tells us that we're shaped by our environments. And when you're highly empathetic, you're especially sensitive to group norms, emotional cues. You don't just see the room, you feel responsible for regulating it. And that's where things get tricky because empathy can slide into conformity and care can slide into compliance. And before you know it, you're saying yes, not because it's right for you, but because it keeps the peace. A friend recently explained his philosophy on maintaining relationships. He described it as transactional. And at first, I didn't really understand because I try to avoid being transactional. I focus on transformational influence. But after listening, this really made sense. And the way he explained it was for every 5 times you show up for someone, if they're not showing up for you at least once, it's time to reevaluate that relationship. Think about that 5-to-1 ratio. Are you getting after everything that you're giving? And so I've had to learn that being empathetic doesn't mean you have to learn to absorb everyone else's emotions. And leadership doesn't mean sacrificing yourself just to maintain the harmony. In fact, social psychology reminds us that groupthink thrives on silence. And silence is sometimes disguised as kindness. So here's the reframe that I've had to practice. Empathy without boundaries isn't compassion. It's self-abandonment. You can understand others without overexerting yourself. You can care deeply and still say no. You can be emotionally aware without being emotionally responsible for everyone else in the room. And maybe the most important lesson, being a positive influence doesn't mean you have to carry the weight of the room. It requires you to stay grounded in who you are. So if you're someone who feels everything and gives easily, stop and ask yourself, am I showing up with intention or am I shrinking to keep things comfortable? Because the healthiest environments aren't built by the people who give everything away. They're built by the people who model empathy and self-respect. I'm Coach T, and this is a coachable moment.